In 1993, Canada made history when Kim Campbell became the country's first female prime minister. It was a moment hailed as groundbreaking, a sign that one of the world's most stable democracies was finally ready to embrace female leadership at its highest level. But the reality behind the headlines was far more complicated and far less triumphant than many would like to remember. Campbell did not win the office through a general election. She inherited the leadership of the Progressive Conservative Party. After Prime Minister Brian Mulroney resigned with plummeting approval ratings and a nation still reeling from controversial policies, many saw her appointment less as a victory for gender equality and more as political damage control by a party on the verge of collapse. She was handed a poisoned chalice, expected to revive a dying government without the time, support, or political capital to make meaningful change. Supporters celebrated the symbolism. A woman had finally shattered the highest glass ceiling in Canadian politics. But critics quickly pointed out that Campbell's brief time in office was marred by circumstances that made it almost impossible for her to lead effectively. She inherited a deeply unpopular party burdened by economic dissatisfaction, rising separatist tensions, and a growing sense of voter disillusionment. Her tenure lasted just over 4 months. When the federal election came, the Progressive Conservative Party suffered one of the most devastating defeats in Canadian history, reduced from a majority government to only 2 seats. Campbell herself lost her riding. While many rushed to blame her personally, others argued she had been set up to fail, used as a symbol while the real power structures within her party remained resistant to change. Even her historic status has been subject to debate. Some hailed her as a trailblazer. Others argued that real progress would mean a woman gaining power through election rather than default, with time and mandate to implement her vision. Critics also noted that her cabinet appointments and policy stances did little to challenge the status quo, raising questions about how much representation matters when not accompanied by reform. Kim Campbell's rise and fall reveals how quickly a breakthrough can be used to mask deeper inequality. Her short time in office was historic, but it also exposed the limits of token progress in a system still dominated by entrenched power. Canada elected no other female prime minister afterward, and Campbell's legacy remains a reminder that symbolic victories can come at the cost of real empowerment. Her story forces us to ask whether she broke barriers or simply became a convenient scapegoat for a political disaster already in motion. Either way, it was a moment that revealed both the possibilities and the limitations of progress in modern politics.